Hi, and welcome to the history lessons in Edupedia world. What we're going to do today is look at the examples, a couple of examples of the houses of Pompeii, the examples of the art. So we've already had a look at some of the styles and the artwork that could be found. Now we're going to go thoroughly into two examples so you can review a bit and see deeper into these two houses that we've taken. The two houses that we're going to work on, we're going to briefly go into the house of the golden bracelet, and then we're going to go thoroughly analyzing one of the most famous frescoes in the House of Mysteries. So, we start with the House of the Golden Bracelet. It's called like this because one of the women that was found inside the house was wearing the golden bracelet that we see here at our right. That is all. Here we can see various types of artwork, frescoes depicting people, portraits, but especially this one is famous for its gardens, because with the frescoes they try to imitate how Roman gardens would be. Probably a bit idolized, but they are trying to imitate the gardens that you would have outside. So even if it's frankly impossible to have maintained something like a garden, like the decorations, like the type of flowers and trees you had in a garden, thanks to these pictures, now we actually have a more clear example, and we have more information on really everyday things that you would never even dream of knowing, not at this time period. So you have flowers with gardens and shrubs and strawberry trees we've seen, and populated obviously by many birds, swallows, doves, turtle doves, nightingales, magpies. This is giving us a lot of information on the fauna that they already knew and had identified. The garden on the ground floor was, for example in this case, it was really formal design. It was surrounded by box of hedges, but at the end of the garden, nearer to the house, you would see water fountains, features, this statue, these little heads and portraits of someone made. This kind of frescoes, as we can see, are part of the more naturalist style. And with this one, for example, we can see this obsession with keeping on painting architectural constructions. So all around the more naturalist frescoes depicting all this nature, you still have columns, and here we have vases. So they frame the nature within this architecture. If you see these pictures of gardens, most likely they are from here, from the House of the Golden Bracelet. And just to finish the House of the Golden Bracelet, you also have this fresco depicting the marriage of Alexander the Great. You remember the mosaic, the tile work of Alexander the Great? Here we see that the same symbols repeat themselves. So when you had these famous characters in history, you were trying to show your admiration, but also give the qualities that are associated to them to your house. So we see the theme repeating itself here. And now let's go to one of the most famous houses in Pompeii, what's called the House of Mysteries. Here you have this large fresco that is based on one theme, what we think it's the initiation to the cult of Dionysius. So it's thought that this room, as it was dedicated to this, it would probably be used as a room to perform the rituals associated to this cult. It's painted and intended to be read as a single narrative, so we're going to see various pictures, just like a comic book, that explain the story of the ritual. Here we see women and satyrs and the conducts and rituals that would be probably related to the god and used for the initiation. I'm saying probably because we don't have that much information to confirm everything related to this cult. That is why also it's called the House of Mysteries. I have to mention that there's another theory saying that there were only rites, rituals that you would do before marriage, because that's how they prepared women to be married. But that was what you would do for a woman. You didn't have that many other outcomes. But most scholars still, it's a hot debate, but most scholars think that it would be the cult of Dionysius. So we'll stay with that. We'll go bit by bit to have a really thorough look at this fresco. First, what do we see here? Well, we see a noble woman. We know this because of the clothing. It's probably the initiate's mother, who can't cross any further and has to leave her child here. And the one that's sitting would be a priestess or matron. Next to the matron, you have the child reading a scroll that would probably be the instructions for the initiation, or the declaration for the initiation. And the picture changes. So here would be the next picture, and this woman would be the child grown up now, the young initiate, wearing this purple robe and mithril crown, and she's holding what is thought a spring laurel tray of cakes. And now she looks like a serving girl, but it's probably bringing offerings to the god or goddess. It's when you're serving, you're also serving the god. Then on the second part, we have another priestess, or probably a senior initiate, with her assistants preparing a basket. And at the feet, they have mysterious, like mushroom-like objects that we still don't know. In the following picture, we have some other characters that are normally associated as followers of Dionysius. So we have a Selene playing the lyre, and we have various satyrs playing also the pan flute, and a nymph giving her breast to a goat, sucking a goat. These would be elements that are associated to this particular god. That's why they're here. And on the side, then, we see the initiated in a state of panic. She's really scared and fleeing something. Then, in the direction in which she has this stare of horror, there's what we've been using as a background, just as a curiosity. This has been our background for all these lessons, and here it depicts a young satyr being offered a bowl of wine by Selenium, that is, and he is behind him. And then you see another satyr holding up a frightening mask, one of these masks you would use for theatre. The intention of holding this mask above is probably that its frightening features are reflected in the water that the other satyr is drinking, and to frighten him. On the other side here, there's what is believed a matron or goddess. We don't have the upper part, with Dionysius, this god we have identified, obviously, because of his staff and his laurel in his hair, and he is sitting on her lap. The next moment we see again the initiator. We see that she is returning with a staff, and she's wearing a cap also, as you can see. And these are items that you would probably have after a successful completion of the initiation. Then we see this winged female figure that apparently is whipping her in this other picture. So you would have at the left, you would have the angel winged figure, we can't call them angels, whipping her while she is just here on the lap of the matron. And next to her, there's a dancing figure that is being gowned with probably the symbols of initiation into the Dionysius cult, because we see the same staff. Do you recognize the same staff here? This staff is the same, if it goes back, as this one. So this is why we strongly believe that it would be the cult of Dionysius. And she is preparing her to have new clothes that we see here in this one of the last appearances. She has new clothes, while Eros, Cupid, is holding a mirror for her. And after this scene, we also see Cupid again, Eros, and the initiate now is on the throne and wearing this elaborate costume that would be symbolizing the end, the final part of what she's gone through. She's already gone through all the rites, all the rituals, and has achieved her status. Wow. And this is really a thorough walkthrough what we can see and what kind of complex information we can get just out of the art that we found in Pompeii. This, for example, would be either the room where you would only perform rituals, or from the situation in the house, it would maybe be the cubiculum, the room of the matriarch. So that would mean that the matriarch would be part of this cult, and that's why she wanted all this on the wall, probably depicting what she already went through, obviously, with lots of symbols that, sadly, only they would understand. We have yet to reveal all the information. But this was a go through 2 of the houses of Pompeii, reviewing the art, seeing again. I hope you've identified different styles, different Pompeian styles. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and see you in the next one.